Hi Autumn, how you doing? Okay, I've got your banana sketch up right. And now the first thing I want to do is let's go ahead and take a look at the shapes of the letters and how they've been rendered in your sketch. Then we'll go ahead and take a look at the mechanics of the setup as well as the spacing between the letters. So let's address the actual shapes of the letters first. So I've got the file up here for the Franklin Gothic book font at 200 points. And what I'm seeing right here is I'm taking a look at this lowercase a right here, and I'm trying to bring it right over here so we can kind of get a relationship between the shape of the letter and the shape of your rendering here. And I think we see a lot of differences. The main difference I'm seeing is the area in this open counter of the lowercase a. We can see especially the distance between this end stroke right here and this bowl right here. That's the curved part. Take a look at the distance there and then take a look at the distance between yours. And it's really a considerable difference. So you want to get these letter shapes as close to possible, as close to the original as you possibly can. A couple of things you want to look at is some relationships of the strokes themselves. For example, this is called a variable width stroke. And we can see right here, it's a lot thicker right here than it is right here. But we don't see that in your rendering. So that's something that we really need to see. We also don't see this kind of curved tail for the lowercase a. So that's another thing that you really want to pay attention to. That's a unique characteristic of Franklin Gothic book typeface. So we really want to include that. So those A's should look as close to this as possible. The other thing we take a look at when we take a look at the uppercase B is, again, we have some variety in the stroke width right through here. So we can see that it's a lot thicker through here than it is right through there. But we don't see that. What we see here is basically called a monostroke, which means it's not variable. It's consistent. And we just don't see that in the Franklin Gothic book typeface. So you want to definitely make sure that you show those differences in your sketches. Let's take a look at the N. And again, we have an area of variable width stroke right here. This is called the branch of the N, and where the branch meets the leg, we can see that it really narrows and tapers down considerably. But we don't see that depicted in your rendering of the lowercase n. So what you want to do is when you trace these, you want to be as accurate as you possibly can. The next suggestion I have is to create some contrast here, and it's really important that you get as much contrast as you can. So consider a lighter, a softer lead on your pencil so we can get some good contrast in here. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other examples, and you can see we're getting some really fantastic contrast right here in the strokes, in the stroke fill of these letter forms. So you definitely want to do that for your final submission. So the next thing I want to mention is the way to set up your file for your final submission. Now, if you read this, and I've mentioned this to every student so far, a couple of students have emailed me and said, hey, this doesn't really make sense because based on what we're reading, the cap line and the mean line are all dependent on the typeface we're using. So how can we draw a mean line and a cap line before we label letters in place? And if you thought that, you're exactly right. This is a little misleading, starting with the baseline, mean line, and cap line, because as we know, and based on our reading, you can draw the baseline, but the mean line and cap line are strictly dependent on the individual typeface you use. So you would have to actually set one of the letters and then establish your mean line and your cap line. I'll talk about that in 1 second. Moving into your final presentation, I would recommend that you do this. On your page, go ahead and draw the baseline first, okay? Then trace your cap B on that baseline and just take a little mark of the cap line. Then come down here and make sure that these are perfectly parallel, the cap line and the baseline. Once you have the baseline, measure off the top of the B, establish your cap line, and draw it out so that this side is exactly the same distance from the baseline as this side. No variation there whatsoever. To establish your mean line, you'll lay down you'll trace your lowercase a. And again, you don't really have to trace it completely right now. You just want to get your mean line down. So once you establish where the lowercase a is going to be, you can go ahead and mark that mean line. Then make sure that that's a perfectly parallel. So the baseline, the mean line, and the cap line, cap height, baseline, mean line, all have to be perfectly parallel. In other words, the distance between these cannot fluctuate whatsoever between the beginning and the end. At that point, you'll start laying your letters down, tracing your letters using good kerning practices. And in this particular typeface, what you want to do is this is the rule that you're going to follow. The closest kerning is going to be between two curved letter forms. That's the B and the A. The next closest, a little bit wider than that, is going to be between a straight letter form and a curved letter form. Okay, and then the widest space between two letters is going to be between two straight letter forms. The reason this is the case is because you want there to be an equal volume between the letter forms. So in between these two letters, you want to kind of imagine that if you were to fill this with water, it would fill up at the same rate as these two straight sides. And all of these spaces between the letters should fill up at the same time if you were to pour water right in there, right? Now, of course, we can see that this open counter, forget that open counter, just imagine that that's a straight line right there. And take a look at this relationship here, this open space here between the letters, and this open space here. Now, theoretically, we can see that this is going to fill up a lot slower than this because the volume associated with this negative space between letters here is much greater than the volume between these two the negative space between these two letter forms. All right, so theoretically, what you would want to do is increase the space, and that's the reasoning behind that little general rule of thumb I said is that the narrowest kerning is going to be between two curved letter forms. The next narrowest is going to be between a straight and a curved, and then the widest is going to be between two straights. Okay, now those should be subtle differences. You shouldn't be able to really notice any major differences, but by creating these optical illusions and increasing the space between some of your letters, you'll give the illusion that the volume between those letters is identical. Okay, so those are my recommendations moving forward and into your final presentation. So if you have any questions at all, please feel free to let me know. I'll be glad to address. Thank you very much.